The most powerful shift you'll ever make doesn't happen when you achieve a goal. It happens when you stop asking, what do I want to accomplish? And start asking, who am I becoming? At first, the difference seems small, but it changes everything. Imagine two people trying to quit smoking. They're both offered a cigarette. The first person says, no thanks, I'm trying to quit. The second person says, no thanks, I don't smoke. The first person is still fighting their old identity. The second has already adopted a new one. Your brain is always trying to stay consistent with the story it believes about you. If you tell yourself, I'm lazy, your brain will find evidence to support it. If you believe, I never finish what I start, every unfinished project strengthens that belief. But the opposite is also true. Every time you choose to read instead of scroll, your brain quietly records it. Every workout completed, every healthy meal eaten, every promise kept adds another piece of evidence. Eventually, you stop acting disciplined because you're forcing yourself. You act disciplined because that's the kind of person you believe you are. This is one of the reasons small habits are so powerful. Their greatest impact isn't what they accomplish today. It's the identity they build over time. But identity alone isn't enough. Even if you genuinely want to become a disciplined person, your environment can quietly pull you in the opposite direction. Imagine placing a bowl of candy on your desk. You tell yourself you won't touch it. An hour passes, then another. Eventually you eat one, then another. Soon the bowl is empty. You blame your lack of willpower. But psychologists have repeatedly found that human behavior is heavily influenced by what is visible, convenient, and easy to access. Your environment is constantly making decisions for you before your conscious mind even gets involved. If your phone is within reach while you're trying to study, your brain has to resist that temptation every few minutes. Each act of resistance uses mental energy. This is known as decision fatigue. The more choices your brain makes throughout the day, the more exhausted it becomes. That's why successful people often simplify parts of their lives. Some wear similar clothes every day. Some prepare meals in advance. Some schedule their workouts at the same time without thinking about it. They're not trying to make life boring. They're protecting their mental energy for decisions that actually matter. Now think about your own room. What does it encourage you to do? If your phone is beside your bed, your brain learns to check it the moment you wake up. If your desk is covered in distractions, your attention scatters before you even begin working. But if a book is lying open, you're more likely to read. If your workout clothes are already waiting for you, exercising feels easier. If healthy food is the first thing you see when you open the refrigerator, eating well becomes almost effortless. Tiny changes in your surroundings can create enormous changes in your behavior. Because humans rarely rise to the level of their intentions. They usually fall to the level of their environment. There's another trick your brain plays that few people realize. It loves immediate rewards. Imagine someone offers you $10 right now or $20 next week. Many people choose the $10 today, not because it's the better choice, because the human brain naturally discounts future rewards. Psychologists call this present bias. The future version of you always seems capable of making better decisions. Tomorrow you'll wake up early. Tomorrow you'll eat healthier. Tomorrow you'll save money. Tomorrow you'll start. But tomorrow becomes another tomorrow. The cycle continues. Disciplined people don't wait for their future selves to rescue them. They make the present moment work in their favor. One simple way to do that is by attaching an immediate reward to a positive habit. Maybe you only listen to your favorite podcast while walking. Maybe you make your morning coffee after finishing your journal. Maybe you allow yourself an episode of your favorite show only after completing your most important task. You're teaching your brain a new lesson. Hard work comes first. Reward comes after. Eventually the brain begins expecting that sequence. And discipline becomes less of a struggle. Of course, nobody stays perfect forever. Everyone misses workouts. Everyone procrastinates. Everyone has days when they feel unmotivated. The difference isn't that disciplined people never fail. It's what they do next. Imagine missing one day at the gym. That's normal. Life happens. Now imagine missing the second day. Then the third. By the end of the week, your habit has quietly disappeared. One mistake almost never ruins your progress. Repeating the mistake usually does. That's why one of the most effective rules is incredibly simple. Never miss twice. Oversleep today. Wake up on time tomorrow. Skip your workout. Do it the next day. Eat unhealthy food. Your next meal is a healthy one. The goal isn't perfection. The goal is returning to the path as quickly as possible. Because habits aren't destroyed by one bad decision. They're destroyed by believing one bad decision means you've already failed. Your brain loves excuses because excuses protect your comfort. But growth begins the moment excuses lose their power. Think about a sculptor standing in front of a massive block of marble. One strike of the hammer changes almost nothing. Neither does the second, or the 50th. But after hundreds of careful strikes, a masterpiece slowly appears. From the outside, it looks like one magical moment. In reality, it was thousands of small actions stacked together. Your life works exactly the same way. People often admire successful individuals and assume they were gifted with extraordinary discipline. What they rarely see are the invisible decisions. Choosing to sleep instead of scrolling. Choosing to read instead of watching another video. Choosing to save money instead of spending it. Choosing to show up when nobody was watching. Those tiny moments never go viral. Nobody applauds them, but they quietly shape a person's future. Every action is like casting a vote. One vote doesn't decide an election, but thousands of votes eventually reveal the winner. Every healthy meal is a vote for becoming healthier. Every workout is a vote for becoming stronger. Every focused hour is a vote for becoming successful. and every excuse is a vote for staying exactly where you are. Your future isn't built by one dramatic decision. It's built by thousands of invisible ones. Perhaps the greatest misunderstanding about discipline is believing that one day it suddenly becomes easy. It doesn't. The hard things are still hard. The difference is that they stop feeling unfamiliar. Just as a pianist no longer thinks about every key or a driver no longer thinks about every gear change, repeated actions become automatic. The brain becomes more efficient. What once required enormous effort becomes part of your normal routine. That is the true reward. Not that life becomes effortless, but that your mind becomes stronger. Every challenge you overcome teaches your brain that discomfort isn't danger. It's growth. Every promise you keep teaches your brain that your words have value. Every disciplined action becomes another brick in the foundation of the person you're becoming. So the next time you think you need more motivation, remember this. Motivation is a visitor. It arrives without warning, and it leaves just as quickly. Discipline is different. It's built quietly. One decision, one habit, one ordinary day at a time. Your brain is changing every single day, whether you realize it or not. Every choice strengthens a pathway. Every repeated action writes another line in the story of who you are. The question has never been whether your brain can change. Science has already answered that. It can. The real question is this. When you wake up tomorrow morning, what will you teach it? Because the person you'll become a year from now isn't waiting for one life-changing moment. They're being created by the choices you make today. And perhaps the greatest trick isn't forcing your brain to love discipline. It's showing your brain, day after day, that discipline is the path to the life it's been searching for all along. Have you ever promised yourself that tomorrow would be different? Tomorrow you'll wake up early. Tomorrow you'll finally start exercising. Tomorrow you'll study for that exam, work on that business, read that book, or stop wasting hours scrolling through your phone. But tomorrow arrives, and somehow you end up doing exactly what you did yesterday. At first, you blame yourself. You tell yourself you're lazy. You think you simply don't have enough discipline. Then you look at people who seem to have their lives together. The ones who wake up before sunrise, go to the gym consistently, build successful careers, and never seem to lose motivation. You assume they were born different. But what if everything you've been told about discipline is wrong? What if discipline isn't a personality trait? What if it's simply the result of understanding how the human brain works? Imagine your brain as the world's most advanced survival machine. For hundreds of thousands of years, it wasn't trying to make you rich, productive, or successful. It had one job: keep you alive. To survive, your ancestors had to conserve energy whenever possible. Food wasn't guaranteed. Hunting could take days. Every unnecessary movement wasted precious calories. The people who instinctively avoided unnecessary effort had a better chance of surviving long enough to pass on their genes. Your brain still carries that ancient programming today. The problem is that the world has changed much faster than our brains have. Today, you don't have to hunt for food. You don't have to walk miles to find water. You don't have to build a shelter before sunset. Instead, your biggest challenges are sitting down to study, exercising after work, resisting junk food, or putting your phone away. To your brain, those tasks still require energy. And because your brain is designed to save energy whenever it can, it naturally searches for the easier option. That's why the couch feels more inviting than the treadmill. That's why your hand reaches for your phone before you even realize it. It's not because you're weak. It's because your brain is doing exactly what evolution designed it to do. Now here's where things become even more interesting. Scientists have discovered that your brain isn't just trying to avoid effort. It's constantly chasing rewards. And the chemical responsible for this pursuit has become one of the most misunderstood substances in psychology. Dopamine. Most people call it the happiness chemical. It isn't. If dopamine were simply happiness, then getting everything you wanted would leave you permanently satisfied. But that's not what happens. Instead, dopamine creates desire. It whispers, do that again. Every notification on your phone, every message, every like, every funny video, every sugary snack, every unexpected reward. Each one creates a tiny burst of dopamine that teaches your brain something incredibly powerful. This feels good. Remember it. The more often this happens, the stronger that lesson becomes. This is exactly why social media companies spend billions of dollars designing apps that keep your attention. They don't just entertain you. They exploit a reward system that evolved millions of years before smartphones existed. Every time you pull down to refresh your feed, your brain experiences uncertainty. Maybe there will be something exciting. Maybe there won't. Oddly enough, uncertainty makes dopamine even stronger. Psychologists call this a variable reward schedule. It's the same principle used in slot machines. You don't know when the reward is coming, so your brain keeps checking. One more scroll, one more video, one more notification. Before you know it, an hour has disappeared. Now compare that to something like learning a new language. The first day feels awkward. The second day feels slow. The third day doesn't seem much different. Your brain asks a simple question. Where's my reward? The truth is, the reward exists. It's just delayed. Weeks later, you'll understand conversations you couldn't before. Months later, you'll speak with confidence. But your ancient brain isn't very good at waiting months for a reward when TikTok can give it one in 3 seconds. This creates one of the biggest battles of modern life. Your future self wants long-term success. Your present brain wants immediate pleasure. Who wins depends on how you design your environment. Think about the last time you accidentally spent hours watching videos online. Did you consciously decide to waste your evening? Probably not. It happened one small decision at a time. One video became another. Another became 5 more. Eventually, you weren't making choices anymore. Your habits were. Researchers have found that nearly half of our daily actions aren't conscious decisions at all. They're automatic routines repeated so often that the brain runs them on autopilot. That's both terrifying and exciting. Terrifying because many of your bad habits operate without your awareness. Exciting because the exact same system can build extraordinary habits. Imagine someone who exercises every morning. People often assume they're incredibly disciplined, but ask them how difficult it feels after years of consistency. Many will tell you it feels strange to skip a workout. Their behavior isn't driven by motivation anymore. It's driven by habit. The brain has learned that morning means movement. No debate. No negotiation. Just action. This is possible because of something called neuroplasticity. For decades, scientists believed the adult brain was mostly fixed. Once you reached adulthood, your brain was thought to remain largely the same. They were wrong. Your brain is constantly rewiring itself. Every thought you repeat, every action you perform, every behavior you practice, strengthens certain neural pathways while allowing others to weaken. Imagine walking through a dense forest. The first time, it's difficult. Branches block your path. Tall grass slows you down. But if you walk the same route every single day, eventually a trail appears. Walking becomes easier. The path becomes obvious. Your brain works exactly the same way. Every time you repeat a behavior, you're carving another path through your neural forest. The more often you walk that path, the easier it becomes to follow. That's why quitting a bad habit feels uncomfortable. Your brain has spent months or even years building a highway toward that behavior. Changing doesn't happen by wishing for a different life. It happens by building a different road. This is why people often fail when they rely entirely on motivation. Motivation is emotional, and emotions change constantly. Think about New Year's Day. Gyms are packed. Journals sell out. Healthy food disappears from supermarket shelves. Everyone feels inspired. Then February arrives. The excitement fades. The alarm clock rings on a cold morning. The workout suddenly feels optional. What changed? Not the goal. Not the opportunity. Only the emotion. People who succeed don't avoid this feeling. They simply stop depending on it. Instead of asking themselves whether they feel like doing something, they remove the question entirely. Imagine brushing your teeth. You probably don't wake up every morning overflowing with excitement to brush them. You simply do it. It's part of who you are. There is no internal debate. No motivational speech. No countdown. Just action. That's the hidden secret behind discipline. The goal isn't to force yourself forever. The goal is to repeat an action until it becomes as automatic as brushing your teeth. And surprisingly, one of the fastest ways to begin isn't by making massive changes. It's by making your goals almost laughably small. Suppose someone decides they're going to run 5 kilometers every morning. It sounds inspiring, until the first rainy day arrives, or the first morning they're tired, or the first week life becomes busy. Now imagine a different promise. Put on your running shoes. That's it. Not run. Not exercise for an hour. Just put on the shoes. It sounds ridiculous, almost too easy, but that's exactly why it works. The hardest part of almost every meaningful task isn't doing it. It's starting. Once your shoes are on, taking a short walk feels natural. That walk often becomes a jog. The jog becomes a workout. Psychologists have observed that once people begin a task, they're far more likely to continue than if they never started at all. The brain resists beginnings far more than it resists momentum. The greatest transformation often starts with the smallest possible action. And that's where almost everyone makes the same mistake. They try to become a completely different person overnight. But your brain doesn't trust dramatic change. It trusts evidence. Every small promise you keep becomes evidence. Every workout you finish becomes evidence. Every page you read becomes evidence. Every morning you get out of bed when the alarm rings becomes evidence. Slowly, almost invisibly, your brain begins to believe something new. Maybe, I'm becoming someone who actually follows through. And once your identity begins to change, your behavior starts changing with it. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe for more such videos.